Hello and welcome to Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan, a teary-eyed fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Cocky.
And I'm Kay.
And this is the story so Farscape. Oh, we finally got here. We're on Season 3, Episode 15, Icarus Abides, and okay.
Yeah, yes.
I noticed that you're not being nearly as affected by it as I am, having watched it again. So,
okay.
I mean, you've got these clear, cold eyes, as if you just don't care what just happened.
We've got a spare John back at home.
Oh no! David Kemper would be so disappointed because, like. In various interviews, he said, like, this whole season was about building up to this, to make sure that you were absolutely 100% convinced that this is not a copy. He's not he's not a split off. He is a real, actual person because he couldn't die before then.
Oh, no, of course. But, I mean...
Wow, you're so callow. You're just so casual about it. This is amazing. I'm just looking into your cold, dead eyes like a doll's eyes or a shark's eyes. I had no idea.
It was done very well, but it's kind of like, I mean, I've been predicting pretty much this happening for like several episodes now already.
Yes, so that's true. That's true, and I didn't like tease you into making another prediction next time. I wasn't going to fake you out last time because when this episode first rolled around, it caught a lot of us by surprise, but okay, the fandom was kind of split, I think 3 ways.
Yes? Oh, good. No, do tell.
Let me see if I remember. I mean, there was a certain contingent that was fairly certain that, okay, so we're getting a Black Tea 2-parter. Yeah, he's going to die.
Aha, yes.
Right?
I can see that, yeah.
For the reasons that you've stated.
Yeah.
We've built up this relationship between John and Aaron and this romance that everyone gets to enjoy, and now we're going to destroy it.
Yes, because we can't have happy main characters.
Happy people don't make for good TV, as Joss Whedon said. But Joss Whedon turns out to have had certain predilections and issues, so maybe we shouldn't take his word for it.
Also, as the episode progresses, it becomes more and more clear that, yes, he's a goner. If only because of the wormhole information in his head being unlocked. Again, he can't have that because then he can work on actually getting home.
Yeah, which becomes a much more real possibility over the course of the episode, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
See, the 2 other camps were sort of one side figuring that this sort of split of 2 Johns was so bold a move and so cool that they were nowhere near exhausting the potential of this, and it would be cool to have them both on the same ship after they'd had these very different experiences.
Yeah,
and there was a contingent that figured it was Green Tea John that would die, and that tragedy would sort of drive a wedge between this John and Aaron, or perhaps that this John and Aaron would hit a rocky patch and she might real soap opera stuff.
Right. Apparently the Australians are renowned for this soap opera.
Oh, yes. Yes. I believe, doesn't Neighbours, have a significant incidence of, amnesia, or am I thinking about...
I have no idea. I never watched any of that.
My mum did, and they sort of blend together.
The only Australian soap opera-ish type thing that I ever watched was Flying Doctors.
Flying Doctors doesn't count as a soap opera. It's a medical procedural.
Well, hardly.
Okay, maybe I'm being generous. They are literally called doctors, though.
I know, they are doctors, but, it's not about the doctoring, other than the occasional Timmy fell down the well episode.
Oh, okay. It's about the flying?
It's about the people, I'd say. So in that case, it's more of... It does count as a soap opera.
I mean, soap operas were intended to, they were during the daytime, and this was in the very sexist era where...
tearjerkers.
Women were relegated to housework, and so, there were commercials for soap during the soap operas geared at
that's
women.
Why they were called soap operas.
Yeah,
okay.
literally that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, wild, right?
I do know at one point that, for some reason, Flying Doctors was, super popular here in the Netherlands. And at one point, the cast was doing a little tour of, I think it was Europe or anything, of just, a little meet and greet and stuff like that. And they were completely caught out and overwhelmed by the amount of people that came to see it. I mean, they'd been to Germany and a few other countries, and there'd been a little fan base, but for some reason in the Netherlands it had become the super popular thing, and they were completely blown away by the amount of people that showed up to the event. Yes.
I wonder what Australia is still a popular retirement destination.
Yes.
There's a fair number of Dutch people who have relatives living in Australia,
Yeah.
not necessarily Australian relatives. So what's it like?
I don't know. I mean,
There
it
were
must have
Dutch
been-
colonizers that went to Australia as well.
I mean, it was
Tasman
it was a popular post-war immigration destination. I know my parents were seriously considering it at one point.
Oh, okay. So after Indonesia achieved its independence and still a desire to live in that climate?
I suppose, I'm not sure. I mean, or just like get away from the Netherlands where it's going to be crowded and be into like the post-war restoration and like the whole new beginning start somewhere else.
Yeah, the sort of frontier spirit.
Right,
That,
yeah.
Well, Scorpius's would-be parents kind of tried to
Ooh,
do
yeah, there's that.
in Space Australia. Okay, wow. We're really delving into it very quickly. We've got some synopses. I've noticed that there aren't nearly as many synopses for this one as which I can understand.
There's less clever things to say about an episode like this, I suppose.
Yeah, there's more of a struggle to, haha.
Yep. So don't worry about me. I've never felt better. Thank you, Jenna.
Oh, wow. The Derp Prime is even more. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Oh no. Thank you, the Derp Prime. I hope I did justice to your performance.
And
there.
MatthewB keeps it even shorter. Chernobyl.
Wow. a bit of a like brief summary there. I've actually been to Chernobyl.
Oh, yes.
When it's consider it's
Under
it's got-
better circumstances,
Yes,
yes.
which is a weird thing to say about.
About Chernobyl, yeah. I hadn't thought that would come back in the way it has. Let's hope it doesn't.
Yes. Gosh, yes. Quickly, moving on. Furlow asks the truly important questions in life in the series' most Mad Max episode yet. John does the impossible feat of rendering Stark speechless. But at what cost? You don't think they named the season just on the basis of the first few episodes, did you? Thank you, Horseburd. Yes, because, as you know, the first episode of this season was Season of Death.
Right, yeah.
And we lost Zan, and now we've lost John.
John.
Fun show, this.
Yeah, hilarious.
Okay, hit it.
Prepare to starboard!
Yeah, we start with a quick little recap
Previously on Farscape.
about the history of the show, mostly about what happened in the previous episode, and then it's more shooting. No, wait, hang on.
Yeah. The shooting is still part of the preview showing how Rigel wound up injured, but not quite so injured, and in particular,
No, that's a plot line that really didn't go anywhere, is it?
Yeah, I mean, he's injured, and he decides to soldier on because all he needs is food.
Yeah, and then he keeps shooting, and there's a little bit more shooting, and he apparently does enough to keep them, the Charons, at bay from doing a massive invasion. But Rigel barely features in this whole episode.
Yes. His moment of heroism, like deciding to soldier on despite, like even Aaron offers to relieve him so that he can go and get treatment.
And he goes
or
like,
whatever.
no, you're still...
Still mobile. I'm not. Just bring me food.
You want to eat now?
Bring me food, and I'll keep going.
Despite being injured, but yes, then it's back to the struggle which had come out with Scorpius on top.
Yes.
Which is also like, someone must be feeding him that. What's that stuff called again that makes your appearance change to everybody else? I mean, I know that.
Freslin, yes.
I know they're just using it for a cinematic effect that they show John in because he's
Scorpius again.
Yes, but he gets the complete black outfit, including the pauldrons or whatever it is.
That snakeskin outfit. That
Yeah.
I mean, they must have made a duplicate to fit Ben Browder's muscular frame.
I
Because
guess, yeah.
Wayne Pygram is a slender man like myself, and that's kind of why he got that silhouette. The only major differences is he doesn't get the teeth.
No.
Scorpius's bad teeth.
But
as
then it became too difficult to tell them apart, wasn't it?
Yeah, and therefore also the black lipstick. So he keeps his pretty smile, which makes it so much more threatening.
But he gets the cheekbones and the everything else and the chin strap.
Now it's interesting that you say that it's a cinematic effect because yes, absolutely that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when Aaron is about to shoot him to save John from having to live on as this monstrous figure, and Jorpius does a great job of, or I suppose Harvey, of taunting her with this, letting this body go to waste, and
putting some nasty moves on her.
really creepy. It's Jack who stops her.
Look, thank you, Daddy. Look at him. The clone is dying. He wants you to shoot him, so John dies too.
As if he can visually see the neural clone, right?
Yes.
So as if this appearance that he has is some sort of aura that the neural clone has that he can detect.
Okay, well, it makes sense because he can detect incoming solar flares and all that, so it makes sense that he has a different sensorial spectrum than peacekeepers or humans have. But yeah, he stops her from shooting John, and then John goes like, hey, here's Johnny.
Hey, baby. He's gone. He's finally gone. It's just me.
Oh, no, he hasn't had any crackers in a while. But it is a moment of elation.
Yes, because he's like, oh, I'm all fine, like, Harvey's gone, I feel fantastic. It's like losing a pain that you didn't realize you've been having for a long time.
Yeah.
And yes, lots more tender little moments between John and Aaron.
Yeah, they
the entire
can't
episode.
keep their hands
No,
off
they're
each
back
other.
to pawing and rutting teenagers.
That's how we like to see him.
Things on Talon are not going that well.
Forget the comms! Run a check on all airlocks and docking bays! What for? Damage, malfunction, anything!
Because apparently a Scarran stealth capsule has made its way on board.
Very good.
At least I assume it's that, because we never see it and Talon's never detected it, and it's mentioned later that this is a tactic that they employ ahead of the dreadnoughts. And a lone Scarran has made his way on board Talon.
We also discovered that Talon has 2 docking bays.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Maybe he's grown a second one in the meantime. Maybe,
Well, the other one's just dropped.
Maybe it's ended. Yeah.
Oh, fun times. Yeah, they've got a Scarran aboard Talon who, I mean, Crace is incapacitated. Stark is, well, Stark.
Yes.
So they don't stand much of a chance. We cut to the credits and come back to find John and Aaron still lovey-dovey and Furlow still scouring her compound for the components that Jack wants. And he's very critical. Is that all you can find?
Yeah.
I could only
find, I've had to search half the compound for these. Oh, and go search the other half, is what Aaron archly mentions.
Yes, while sort of ear nibbling, they really can't keep their hands off of each other. And in front of Dad. What
Yeah.
a cool dad.
Well, he's not his real dad.
I mean, I know he isn't, but there's a real sort of paternal energy throughout this episode.
Yeah.
As they're working on this module together.
Oh yeah, it's like father and son working on the kit car in the garage. Yes.
I mean, that was even one of the synopses from the last episode by someone who probably, like me, couldn't help but sort of blend these stories together.
I get that. Yeah. So, a little bit of shooting outside showing that Rigel still isn't dead, and we haven't entirely forgotten about him before it's back to Talon, where the Scarran is interrogating Crace.
Well, Crace,
Yeah.
yes, trying to, like, who are you? What are you doing here? He's here on an intelligence gathering mission before the dreadnought arrives. Very wise.
A little bit of blah blah about his peacekeeper rank and everything, and it takes Stark to convince him that no, in fact he's a privateer and he used to be a peacekeeper, and
Yes.
now he stole this ship.
Because Crace, apparently he's had some training. Like, what he says is true. I am not a peacekeeper, and he sticks to that. I have no rank.
Yeah.
But it's inadequate to satisfy the Scarran.
Yeah.
But Stark, what he says is also true, except he says way too much and out of context. He says that he's a Bannic slave and that he hates Crace, which none of that's a lie.
Either, no.
Yeah.
I got the feeling that he is more saying it to get the Scarran off Crace's back.
I'm a Bannic slave, his slave, and I hate him. He brought me on board the ship to help him fix it. Kill him and make me your slave.
Kill him.
And he's like, yeah, he really jumps back into that subservient
mania.
role that he occasionally affects. Because I don't think it's for real. He's just playing at that. Because
Yes.
immediately, the moment the Scarran turns his back, he goes like, okay, yeah, sorry, I had to tell him that. But he basically explains to Crace that he's like, no, he hasn't actually gone that way, and he's just doing his own tactics.
Crace appreciates that
Yes.
strategy.
I had to tell him. He would have forced it out of you anyway. You did well.
He's gaining a lot of respect for Stark, amazingly. Back on the planet, okay, let's deal with a few of these plot lines separately.
Yeah.
For as much as we can, because otherwise they cut back and forth a bunch of times.
Yes. Okay, so Rigel first. He doesn't do anything. He sits, he shoots a little bit. Aaron goes to visit him once or twice, just for a little.
Notices the second time that there's so many chariots, and that it's really confusing why they aren't charging, because
Yeah.
that would be optimal.
You think so? That's also not really resolved, is it?
Well, this is around the time that we realize something is up with Furlow, because let's follow her thread for a bit.
Yes.
She's grumpily providing these components for Jack, and when Jack sends John and Aaron away for the final assembly, which is going to cause quite a bit of radiation that he doesn't want them to be exposed to, she turns out to have her own agenda.
Right. She is still trying to monetize this.
Yeah.
She wants, like, money.
And she's a bit in cahoots with the Charads.
Yes.
Like, She's hired them. They were maybe brokering on her behalf a deal with the Scarrans. They turned on her, tortured her, but she's still willing to follow the money.
And, get this to them.
I think she even mentioned that they killed the rest of her crew. I don't think that was on her behalf.
No, probably not.
Yeah, so she's got mixed feelings about them.
Right. But she does eventually go towards them, and she definitely wants to. Once Jack explains that the device is a one-shot thing that'll self-destruct after it's been an hour and 15 minutes after it's been used.
Well, go on. I'm about to start the reactor.
I can't let you do that, Jack. Back off.
This is the only chance we have to keep the Scarrans
From paying me a lot of money. Now, you ain't going nowhere.
Then she goes like, oh, well, in that case, we're not having any of that.
She draws her gun.
Yeah.
Threatens Jack, who just can't imagine.
Laughs it off. Yeah.
Turns around and
shoots him in the back. Yeah.
The Elim Garak School of Marksmanship.
Elim Garak? Who's that?
Oh, he's from Deep Space Nine. He's the Cardassian spy.
Yes.
Who at one point shoots one of another Cardassian in the back to save the DS9 crew. They go, you shot him in the back? And he explained, yes, I found that's the safest way.
Yes. I mean, he's not wrong.
Right.
Yes, her betrayal doesn't allow her to reap many benefits for long.
She whistles and summons the Charads, who rappel down from the ceiling.
Yes, even though they came in through the sewer, although this base is quite low, I think. But it's
that's just what she says.
Right.
Because they rappel down, she offers them another deal, they turn on her again, double backstab.
Yes.
Who saw that coming?
I was kind of wondering how long, if they'd been there for a long time, or if they'd just been hiding there or not.
Right.
And if she knew, or if she whistled them, so clearly she knew that they were there. But then again, she'd been like wandering off looking for components, so she might have encountered them and brokered this deal off screen.
Oh yeah, very good. But they're no longer interested in using her at all.
They're more than happy to just grab the device and make off with it.
But she's still got this gun, see? And she's trained well at the Elim Garak School of Marksmanship. And she still manages to shoot them and then convince John and Aaron, they snuck up on me. I don't know what happened. They got Jack, though.
Oh.
Oh, no. What a sleaze. I mean, I was really, really into Furlow.
Yes, and then it turns out that she has her own motivations.
And
very
she's
selfish ones.
Exactly.
And she's willing to kill people for it. She literally says that.
Furlow, is it always about the money?
Is there anything else? I mean, how much sex can you have?
I don't know. I haven't maxed out yet.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I think that's about as far as we should follow Furlow for now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not a lot more.
I know, but let's follow the John and Aaron and Jack. Or it's particular John and Jack, because John asks Ancient Jack to unlock the knowledge in his head.
Right. He goes like, I already have. And there's a really cute exchange that goes on about that. And it's like, I don't feel any different. Yeah, it takes time. And then
your mind couldn't process all that information at once. So it's gonna...
And then as they are working on the device, Jack keeps asking him things and then only slowly making him realize that he didn't have that knowledge before.
Yeah, like why did you give me this one? It's perfect.
I figure you could modify the Rillen valve.
I can. But how did you know that?
That's cool.
Yes. It means that knowledge is completely, deeply ingrained into someone and not just a chunk of data which still needs to be accessed.
Yeah, because that's... As a child, as I was learning about various new technologies and science fiction concepts of having information uploaded into your brain and how much cooler that would be than school. But when I access a piece of information or use a language or whatever, it's tied to the sort of memories of learning it.
Okay.
Right? I don't know if you have this, but for a lot of information, I remember sort of when I learned it.
Right.
Or at least the circumstances, right? Certain words that I know I didn't learn from school, but I learned from my family in the banlieues of Paris.
Okay, yeah.
Just me then?
No, I don't experience it that way, I suppose. I mean...
Well, you're exercising one of your many, many skills, for instance.
Yeah.
Baking, cheese making.
In a way, yes. Sometimes I do. It depends a little bit on how ingrained that knowledge is. Like, especially in the earlier stages, you're like looking back and thinking back to, okay, I remember this little trick with the potato for making mashed potatoes I learned from Heston Blumenthal.
Which is, you can't leave us...
Oh, it's like if you want to make mashed potatoes, you have to... I mean, you don't have to, but first of all, you use starchy potatoes, not floury ones.
Right.
And secondly, you kind of do a pre-cook on them. You pre-cook them at 72 degrees for about half an hour. It solidifies the starches, and it stops the mashed potato from going gloopy. But then you still have to... Then you have to, like, rinse them off with cold water, and then you still have to boil them for another 20 to 30 minutes. Because then the boiling actually takes longer than it does if you just drop them straight in.
Whoa.
Which is weird. Yeah, you'd think that, like, oh yeah, they've been pre-boiling for half an hour, so the boil is going to be quicker. No, it's not. It still takes the same amount of time to actually boil them.
So you do remember, like, the origin of this...
I mean, I do, but like the more ingrained knowledge becomes, then yes, I don't remember where I learned particular things. It's
right, fair enough.
But yeah.
So it must be really weird to have knowledge where you know that you never learned it.
Yes.
So you don't know how to access it.
Yeah.
Because you hear a problem, you know, especially when it comes to like science or math or whatever, like you hear a problem, is that a problem that I knew how to solve once, then the problem sounds familiar. But to hear an unfamiliar problem, and how does it feel to sort of discover that you have an answer to an unfamiliar
And that's exactly what happens with John later on after Jack is dead and he has to work on the device. He goes like, well, I have no idea. I've never done this before. And then he just goes and walks over to the device and then he looks at it and he goes like, oh, hang on, I can figure it out. And he goes like, I know what it's for. And
because what they're working on is called a displacement engine. And it's some type of wormhole device. And Jack doesn't give a lot of details. But they need this so that they can destroy the Scarran dreadnought that's approaching.
It's kind of left in the dark if it's a bomb or if it's a weapon or what it is, or if they're going to like have someone has to go do a suicide run on the dreadnought.
What were you thinking?
Ooh.
So those options clearly had occurred to you.
Right. Yes. I don't think I had a particular one in my head that I thought was the framed one. At first, I thought it was bomb. Mm-hmm. Weapon, because
he did ask for fissile material,
right? Yeah, but the more it went on, it turned out to be something else, a wormhole generator. And when the moment the whole wormhole thing started, I kind of exactly happened what I thought would be happening.
Oh, very good!
I thought, like either sun or maybe make a wormhole to a black hole or something. That kind of played out. There was little surprise for me in that. I mean. It was gorgeously done, but
to me, this concept was a surprise. I'd never thought of wormholes as anything other than a means of voluntary travel. But this displacement, literally displacing something from somewhere to somewhere, like the core of a sun or the coronal mass or whatever onto a spacecraft, that hadn't occurred to me before. But you're much better versed in science fiction. Like, is this a concept that you've encountered before?
Oh, no, not in that regard. I don't think so. I mean, once you're thinking with portals, then something like this is it's a fairly. I mean, in other settings, tabletop role-playing games and stuff, when portals have been involved, there's like, it's really easy. Once you can make a portal, you make it high, like 10, 20 kilometers up high in the sky, and you suck someone out, and they either die from asphyxiation or they drop down back onto the ground. Yeah. Or if you want to, like, you can make it a few kilometers underwater, and then you suddenly have a very high-power water jet, which is also quite useful. So that's like, pull that into space, and you can get some solar mass ejected out through it.
I mean, you make a tiny one. You've essentially got a water blade, like those high-pressure cutting devices. Ugh.
Yeah, you can get some very nasty things once you have access to portal technology.
Okay, does gravity work on the other side of a portal? So, you have a Looney Tunes style portal, right? And of course, gravity works through the sort of visible side. They've got to have like a visible side and a non-visible side if it's one of those two-dimensional ones. but does that occlude the force of gravity? If I'm standing above a giant portal facing down, and I'm on the top side, do I experience gravity from the planet beneath me? Because that gravity is now exercised upon whatever it is through the portal.
Yeah.
On the sort of other side, but
I mean that depends on your the definition of your magic. That's like what are your magic rules? That's basically what's the
because even the idea that the sort of interface would be a plane rather than a sphere, is kind of weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be three-dimensional.
And you can, what's it look like from the other side? What happens if for instance, if you have those two portals on top of each other and you put a rock in there? It's an interesting debate. You get a problem either way. Either, yes, gravity works and the rock will keep permanently accelerating, or no, gravity doesn't work, and then you've got a way to make things float.
Yes. Either way, you've got infinite acceleration, or, anti-gravity.
Yeah, there's like multiple ways. Yeah, like there are tricky things to handle as a DM or a screenwriter, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, this was the moment where I started to really realize how much more powerful the wormhole like weaponry was than we'd realized. Because the ability to move your army to a planet and retreat is an incredible advantage. Right,
yes.
You can have one giant army and just move that from location to location, and your adversary has to defend all of them. And you can choose which one to attack, and then you can teleport your entire army to the
next one,
or to a spa for a few days, and just have them wash up and relax, and come at the next one refreshed. And your adversary has no idea where they can be.
Yep. So yes, now we've given away the clue of the episode.
Absolutely no one should listen to these episodes without having seen the episode in question. Come on, I love how every time that the dreadnought is mentioned, actually you mentioned that when there was finally a new shot of the dreadnought at the end, we're actually introduced to a new shot of the dreadnought during the previously on segment.
Oh, okay.
Because that introduces this sort of blue-purple nebula that we actually hadn't seen in the previous episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there's this one shot from the back with a few of the ships like zooming past it, and that's like, they used that 2 or 3 times. I noticed that.
To good effect, I thought.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's a really interesting design with this sort of squat sphere. It's like a Satsuma on the front with some eye holes and these 4 sort of braces on either side, and tiny fighters flying alongside for scale.
So, let me think for a moment where to pick this up again. After John and Jack have their little exchange, and then Jack is murdered by Furlow, for a moment there I thought like that we might see Jack coming back again, because he's like not a normal human creature, especially in how confident he was in turning his back on Furlow.
Right.
That I kind of figured that there might be you can't just keep me down. I'm like I'm half energy being anyway. Right. Something like that. But
it was a really touching moment where John comforts him as he's dying, like assures him, even though Jack's unable to speak, that he'll finish it and he'll make sure it's destroyed, like just reassuring him that what needs to be done will be finished, so that he can die in peace, and he transforms back into his natural shape.
Yes, he goes back to his real body.
God, I hate Furlow. That was low. That was really low.
Yeah, that was low. But she tries to make a run for it. John hears an engine running, which is Furlow in her June buggy.
Yeah. She's done her best to try and convince him to go with her.
How many other people have this weapon?
No one.
That's right. Getting the idea?
The Lucidant capacitor.
See, we can sell it to everyone as deterrence, give it to no one, and charge them to maintain the balance. Or, of course, we could just keep it ourselves and find a peaceful application.
She's offered him alternatives. We can sell it to everyone, so you'll just have mutually assured destruction, because that works great.
Yeah, or we sell it to no one,
and people will pay us not to sell it to
someone else. Yes,
which, okay, that's terrible, but
better.
And she's really pandering to him now. We can keep it ourselves and find some peaceful way to use it. Yeah, bullshit.
You could make in a shipping company, you can basically outbid anybody on anything.
That's not what she's thinking.
No,
about.
Of course not.
She's all about the quick buck.
Of course not.
She's not about the franchise.
No, there's that. Plus, then you would have
that would be Rigel.
Oh yes,
Shipping empire. Yes, that'll be it.
That sounds about it. You could probably convince Rigel that was a good idea. But yeah, she makes him throw his gun away, crush his goggles, which is a bit weird, but...
Well, because she's going to use the next solar flare as cover. And so she wants to make sure that he has no ability to follow her through that cover.
Right. Oh, okay, because that was it's just a brief flare. Because, I mean, later on, John is outside running around without goggles, and that's fine. But I kind of missed the fact that the solar flare was the relevant part in that. I thought that they had to go outside, and then they always had to wear those goggles there.
Yeah, it's protection specifically for the...
Yeah, okay.
She's got a cool buggy that she's loaded the displacement engine onto. Mm-hmm. I love that. That is some Mad Max shit, and I just love it.
Yeah.
They had so much fun on these because this leads to a chase sequence, right? Mm-hmm. Because Aaron's out with Rigel, resupplying him with ammo and
food,
Snickers bars, I guess, and sees, like, as she's questioning why aren't the chariots attacking? Oh, that's why. Furlow is making a run for it, and there's his second buggy coming after it.
She's John running to the other buggy, which is parked under an awning of sorts. They get in and start running off.
They had so much fun. Like, Claudia Black called this, like, the most fun she's had in her entire acting career.
Oh, wow. I can imagine. I mean...
Screaming through the dunes at 100 kilometers an hour, unsecured. She had to stand up.
Oh, yes, of course. Actually, the challenge also managed to get a buggy of sorts.
Yep.
Because there's, like, a little bit of, Mad Max-style fighting going on.
Such a cool chase sequence. Apparently, Ben Browder has some experience with rally cars.
Oh, okay.
That gave her a lot of reassurance, standing upright.
She gets out, he gives her a butt smack, and she jumps off. I'm not quite sure. What's the thing that she throws out there? She throws some sort of...
Right, because their buggy is the only one that doesn't have a working gun.
You'll never guess!
It doesn't work?
Uh-huh.
How the hell can we have the only gun on the planet that doesn't work?
It's your fault!
And so she throws a mine or a grenade.
Oh.
And then she rolls off, and she sort of plays chicken with the Chara driver until he charges at her, and she shoots the mine.
Right, that was it. Okay, yeah.
That's why the buggy explodes.
Yeah.
And then she approaches him as he's crawling out, and this is... It's technically an unnecessary moment in the episode.
Uh-huh.
But I thought it was brilliant in showing the growth that Aaron's experienced. Because she's sort of mumbling to himself, like, don't reach for the gun.
Yeah.
Just run away. Be smart. Just run away.
But no, he does go for the gun, and so she ends up shooting him.
Season 1, Aaron would have just shot him immediately.
Yes. Because that would probably be doctrine.
And, the last thing that she says before jumping out is that, let's get this done, and then we'll go to Earth.
Yes, because she is definitely on board with going to Earth with him.
Once again, showing like the emotional maturity that she's reached, that she's able to recognize about herself. She's able to ask herself whether she wants this and find an answer. That's enormous. She wasn't able to do that back in A Human Reaction.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't even able to admit to herself or anyone how she felt about Crichton wanting to leave.
Yeah.
She's come so far.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but
okay.
On rewatching it, I felt that this was much less John's episode than it was Aaron's.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Well, I mean, I remember feeling that this was all about John when I first saw this, and I'm sure that was your experience as well, because it's an enormous opportunity for an actor and for a character to die and to complete their character arc and show how complete that is, because that leaves you with this lingering idea that everything that he's achieved, the other John hasn't. The other John still has Scorpius and still has this obsession and longs for Aaron. He doesn't have any of this.
No, that's probably going to be enough for a few episodes worth of friction between John and Aaron.
Cold eyes like a doll's eyes. You have the eyes of a shark. It's so... You have a lump of coal instead of a heart.
I think I might be getting a little bit too genre savvy here.
It happens to us all. And even with Farscape, for all its novelty, we're kind of wise to their act now. Right? We know what it's going to do to us. So John rides off after Furlow.
Yeah, and Aaron goes and catch up with them, flips the buggy back over, and sets on after them.
Yeah, I love that she does exactly the thing that you do to, like, an upside-down buggy, wiggle it back and forth on its roll cage.
Yep.
Just swing it back and forth until it flips up
and then flip
onto
it
its
back.
wheels.
Yes. John, in the meantime, manages to take out Furlow by shooting her with his gun.
Yeah.
At least the buggy. That
Good
buggy
aim.
also rolls over.
The displacement engine falls out, and there's a standoff between Furlow and Carleton.
Yep.
Hello, look. The device. It's active. You can't shut it off. By the time you get it to the Scarrans, it'll be useless, it'll be slag.
Which he resolves by telling her, hey, look over there. The device has been activated.
Yeah.
It's going to melt down in an hour and a half anyway. You're never going to have time to sell it to the...
Yep. Not going to happen. Sorry.
But even now, she still wants John with her. Like,
Yeah.
that part wasn't faked. She's still convincing him to walk away and come with me, because she tries to always be the one who walks away while the hero dies.
Yes. I mean, that's kind of like the doctrine about not dying for your country, but making the other bastard die for his. Oof. You know,
And John is left with this partially opened device that's emitting these irregular blue flashes.
Mm.
Did you sort of grok what this was? Like, did?
Well, I mean, I know what Cherenkov radiation looks like.
I hope not from personal experience.
No. Well, Jeeves. Or videos, but yes.
Very, very few people have seen those blue flashes and lived.
Actually, you can see them in a... you can see Cherenkov radiation in an active nuclear reactor.
Through the cooling water, right?
Yeah.
Right,
If you look down at the top of a nuclear reactor in operation, then especially when it starts up, there's like this big blue flash, and that's not dangerous. It's not the blue light that's dangerous. It's what's causing the blue light that's dangerous.
Yes,
and,
because if I recall, those are the photons that are emitted when... Oh, shit. No. What particle is it that does it?
It's basically the visual equivalent of a sonic boom. It's what happens when a particle exceeds...
Photon, right?
Yes. No, but I think it might be an X-ray. It doesn't have to... Well, those are kind of photons. As well. Yeah. When they exceed the speed of light in the medium they're traveling through.
Or rather, when they're traveling at the speed of light and then transition to a medium where the speed of light is lower.
Right, yes.
And therefore they have to slow down. And then
that's why I said the speed of light in that medium. So
right, yeah.
Yeah. So if those things come off let's say they come off at light speed from the core when they're still going,
vacuum,
and then they hit water, and the speed of light is slower, and therefore that energy needs to go somewhere, and that knocks electrons into a higher state, and that causes them to emit light.
Here's where I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah.
So it's a photon that does this. Does a second photon split off it?
They're not. There might be alpha particles or other things, not exactly photons.
They couldn't reach light speed, could they? Alpha particles have mass.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I'd have to look up the details, but it's something along those lines.
Physics shit is so cool. Sorry, I'm trying to distract myself from the emotionally crippling events that are about to take place with physics and join you at your plane of heartless detachment for just a little moment.
Okay, so I didn't actually think that this was what did John in. I kind of figured it was like the radiation effects of what happened around the wormhole. But that was...
okay.
That was that was how I was looking at the whole thing.
Oh, well, then take a look at the Jeeves, because
no, I get it.
He's very carefully timing his approach to flip this lid shut in between those flashes. Now, why he doesn't just walk around the other side and flip it from the shielded side, that has been debated among Farscape fans, the way that Titanic fans debate whether there was enough room for Leonardo DiCaprio on that raft.
Yeah.
And there totally was.
Yes. No, that's a good point.
But it is one of the rare instances where the sort of cheap slow motion of just slowing the frame rate is actually warranted, because you actually get to see he takes a full blast in the face and chest and hands. It's just bad timing.
Yes.
Right? Our hero dies because of bad timing, and that's such a tragedy.
Yeah.
He kneels there and he knows. Right?
Yeah, he knows he's been had.
He's, what's it called? The walking ghost phase of radiation sickness, which has initially no symptoms.
Yeah.
Right? Even major exposure takes minutes or hours before even the rashes start.
Yep. And then, you're basically walking dead, yeah. Dead man walking, I'm sorry, is the phrase that we're looking for.
What was the name of the gentleman who experienced this for the first time? Working on the demon core.
I don't remember.
Because actually, I was even reminded of that when Jack was moving the Partanium over. That was also it looked like a sphere, and it had a sort of slit down the middle, like the demon core, as it was known.
Yeah, and it had the blue glow already, which the core wouldn't have had. But
Yeah, it might have been just
And also that
spacey-wacy.
slit that you're talking about, like what people think is the core is not actually the core. The actual pit is only about fist-sized.
Okay.
That half sphere you're seeing is the neutron moderator that he was holding open with his screwdriver.
Yes, because for the listeners at home, like this is a famous thing during the Manhattan Project. There was a nuclear reaction mass with a neutron moderator sphere just in a lab that they were studying. And he had a screwdriver to hold the two halves open to keep the thing from going supercritical. Knocked something over, screwdriver fell out.
Yeah, screwdriver slipped. Basically, the top half of the neutron moderator sphere fell down on top of the bottom one. And the whole thing started going prompt critical.
And this gentleman, whose name now escapes me, reached over and lifted it off.
Yeah.
Rendering it safe for now.
Yeah.
And I remember once seeing like a dramatic recreation, I think it was fictional, where he told everyone that it was in the room to freeze and then grabbed some chalks off a nearby chalkboard and like just
mark down where you're standing.
And write your name down there. Because this person, he even refused like treatment or pain medication as he was dying of radiation sickness.
Yeah, it took him about 2 weeks, I believe.
A horrific sacrifice for science, but he wanted some kind of treatment protocol to be established with his symptoms, his objective symptoms as a baseline.
Yeah.
Truly, truly heroic.
Yeah. Okay, so now that John has been had the radiation...
Even that doesn't melt your heart, does it? You're just ice today.
Maybe it's a defense mechanism.
I guess.
Let's go with that.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, meanwhile, on Talon, the plan is afoot to get rid of the Scarran. Talon, the Scarran comes walking onto command and goes like, "There's no pilot." And Stark goes like, "Oh, but yeah, this ship doesn't need a pilot. It's controlled through neural interface. See, Crace has one, although his one's broken." And the Scarran says, "Oh, make me one."
"You will have the ship. Make one for me."
Yes. Whatever you say.
That is a dead-on impersonation of the Scarran. I'm really, really impressed.
And Crace goes like, "Make him two, make two."
Yeah, because he's got a cunning plan. Because we've talked before, like, it takes a lot to take a Scarran down.
Yes.
A pulse blast won't do it. They, even without weapons, they have that, whatever it is, a ray that they can beam out of their hands. They're not easy to take down. So this strategy, which turns out to be brilliant, is to knock him out, essentially incapacitate him with the overwhelming surge of experience when the hand of friendship is attached.
Yes.
And use that moment to blast him to smithereens.
Right, which I still don't understand why, that wasn't been done before. He could have any time given the command to, like, Talon, shoot him.
But I think that the Scarran would have survived long enough and been mobile enough to grab the two of them and kill them, or hold them hostage.
Maybe.
Make it out of the room.
Yeah, maybe. But
Not an easy thing to kill a Scarran.
No, it takes him a prolonged burst of fire from Talon's defense turrets to take him out.
Got 4 of them. They're handy things that they're getting a lot of mileage out of.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure the prop department was happy that they actually got used for a change, properly for a change.
Yeah, because usually we only see them, like, the close-up of them being deployed with
and that's, they're a good deterrent in that regard.
John's in the module.
Yeah.
Which is, once again, Furlow's fake module, which she even bothered to replace the IASA decals.
Yes.
How cool is that?
What I did notice is, like, those 2 spikes on the front. I don't remember those being there before. It looks a bit like they're, like, antenna or guns or something like that. And in the reproduction of the module, at this point, it already had Moya components in it, didn't it?
Yes,
So was Furlow able to copy those as well?
I suppose she was, yeah. I'm just thinking about the timeline, because, I think at the start of Till the Blood Runs Clear, that's when he'd just been upgrading Moya, Farscape 1 with Moya components. Yes, that's why Aaron was co-piloting with him.
Yes, they were working on that.
Yeah, so that's when he had those spikes on the front. They're propulsors, I think they're called.
Okay.
Part of the Moya-based propulsion system.
Moya thrusters, I suppose.
I guess, she's a scrounger and a mechanic. She'd be able to put in an order for some
Leviathan components.
Yeah. Or buy a second-hand transport pod.
That's interesting. Because I'd assume that, like, Leviathans just grow spare parts.
Yeah, I guess. Or you could scrounge a second-hand transport pod from a passing Leviathan.
as we have right at the end of the episode, apparently Talon has emergency medical supplies. Like,
An emergency kit.
Yeah. Does he also grow those, or did he pick that up somewhere? It's like...
He must... That's a good point. He must grow those, yeah.
Or Crais must have picked them up somewhere in the period of time that he was flying around, gallivanting around the galaxy with Talon.
I think you're onto something, though. He literally calls it Talon's emergency kit.
No, exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. Huh. Useful boy, that. So he's got so many useful glands.
Useful boy, yeah.
Okay. The module launches and...
oh, come on. You have to have the scene between Aaron and John first.
Oh, my God! Yes, you're right. It's Captain Coldheart who drags me back to the emotions.
When they're arguing about who's supposed to do the flying.
Yeah.
And
this is a beautiful, beautiful
And he knows that he's a gunner, and he hasn't really told her yet.
This is one of those situations where apparently without doing any sort of diagnostics...
Yeah.
He's able to determine that he's a goner and that no medicine exists that can help him.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, you've only been out here for 2 years. Have you encountered radiation sickness? Do you know what kind of medication exists? Or
yeah, very good point.
Planets?
Yes.
Because, I mean, Erin, whether she knows that it's possible to save him or not, she wants to try. Like, you go and find treatment. However, like, I don't know that there's any spacecraft that they know about at this point while she does this.
Yeah.
And
besides, you still have to get rid of the dreadnought first.
That's what she intends to do.
Right. I guess she still thinks it's a bomb at this point, and that it's going to be a suicide run.
Right. You can talk me through it. And he says, no. Like, it's 50% intuition, 50% feeling. Wait, what's that?
Yeah.
Hold on. That seems like the wrong kind of balance, but okay. And she says that, like, she can't accept the possibility of him dying because, like, she has to do it because she loves him. And then he throws that back.
So it's your life for everyone else's.
And you're different how?
I'm different because I love you.
Then you know I have to do this.
And she doesn't really have an answer to that. I mean,
but what a thing to ask of someone.
Yeah.
And how far Erin's come that she's able to feel this and also to accept this. It's incredible because she's accepting his death now. This
or
is
at
the
least the
moment
high
where
possibility of that.
She's a soldier, though.
Yeah.
I don't think she's enough of a romantic at this point to imagine that there's a happy ending for them.
No. Fair point.
Right?
So, yeah, she goes
unless you think otherwise.
No. I mean, yeah, hard to tell. It's like always hard to say with Aaron.
Yeah.
But, I mean, judging from the way that she, like, stops to, like, compose herself while she's setting the charges to blow up Furlow's lab again.
I'm sorry. Even at this moment when I was super overwhelmed with emotion, I saw her passing the pipes and I was going, oh you missed one.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is the pipe isn't getting one this time? It's like,
I guess it was still there from last time.
Very important pipe. No, I checked. It wasn't in there.
Trust you to look up some stranger's pipes.
John flies up into space, and the moment a new solar flare comes around the corner, he still doesn't see the dreadnought, by the way, which is kind of peculiar.
Yes.
Crais has to tell him where it is.
Well, I mean, he's on the Farscape 1, which is...
I guess it doesn't have a very big sensor package.
Right. Oh, was that
Are we talking about John's package again? Yeah.
I thought you were talking about, like, the size of Boya's sensor package. Like
well.
Very, very sensitive. A teenager center package. Oof. Note to self: think about whether you edit that out or leave it in. Oh no, I've left it in, haven't I? Apparently, this, despite the fact that he has now a wormhole like generator, still needs a flare.
Yes,
he was waiting for the flare to happen. Then he used this displacement engine, and he was able to create a wormhole. We've only seen them against black before, and
but now we
see them
in front of the planet. Yes.
And the sort of rim of the star's corona. Gorgeous.
And he turns on the displacement engine and he starts to loop around the wormhole.
Doing whatever it is.
Displacing the wormhole, I think. Because of what he's doing there causes the other end of the wormhole to move to the sun.
Whoa, okay.
So I assume that's what also the technology that the ancients used to, like, wormhole travel is, like, basically manipulate the other end of the wormhole.
Interesting. Oh, let me see I mean, that must be complicated because the Pathfinders, let me see if I remember this, said that wormholes trend toward clustering and to form loops with multiple openings.
Yeah.
So creating a point-to-point wormhole must actually be... You must be fighting that trend to
Right.
keep it from joining up with other
Yeah.
nearby... Okay.
But that's why a device called the displacement engine sounds like something that could do that. Like
Yeah.
you displace a wormhole. And in doing so, creates a big fireball which comes like zooming out, which actually quite slowly tears up the dreadnought.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see because it's not just the fireball that zooms out. I was able to notice this now I was watching it. There's still the rim of the wormhole around the fireball. So it seems like, Stark is muttering, it's touching the sun.
Yeah.
So it's enveloping the dreadnought in the event horizon of the wormhole, whose other side is on the surface of the sun. So
Yeah.
I think this is rather than ejecting a chunk of mass from
Right.
the interior, it's introducing the dreadnought to the skin of the nearby sun, and it's just evaporated.
Yeah, it just goes very quickly. And then, of course, there's a moment of is he or isn't he? And fortunately, he is still alive.
Okay. Well, if we ever meet Claudia Black,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell her that you didn't mention what an incredible job she did of acting throughout this entire episode so far. I'm going to rat on you.
that goes with that. That's a given. I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've literally talked about the size of Boya's sensor package, but we're not going to talk about Claudia's fantastic performance here because she's lost John piece by piece over the course of the last episode or two.
yeah.
Right? She thought he died when Scorpius took over. She thought he was dying when she said goodbye to him. She thought he died when he blew up the dreadnought. And just to still hold it together, it's incredible. She only has Rigel for company, but even Rigel is moved.
Yes, Rigel manages to look shocked and distraught even.
Yeah. And it's time to bring John aboard.
Yes, I think it's Grace's quarters where he's been put. I mean,
Yes, like unless the guest quarters have grown in yet, but
Yeah.
it's quite a thing for Grace to give his quarters for John to die in and be in comfort.
yes,
He's the first of them to go and speak to him after Aaron moves aside and gives the okay.
yes. Thanking him for what he's done.
Calls him Commander,
Yeah,
but John calls him Grace. Yeah.
yeah.
And admonishes him or implores him to find the better part of himself and take care of them.
I suppose with them he means Aaron and Rigel, or Talon, or them,
And Moya,
everybody.
and
Yeah,
everybody that he cares about. Like, he doesn't need to specify that. Grace assures him that he will, and I hope you can believe that.
yeah.
Which,
I mean, that goes back to them having a lot of, animosity between them.
and the lack of trust.
Yes, especially that. I mean, that was brilliant. Like the opening shot of the other
Oh,
two-parter
yeah.
we had, where Craig is like, "You really think that's how it happened?"
That's still a one-parter, bud.
Was it a one-parter?
Man,
No.
your experience of this season is all over the place. Yes, because so far it's always been one episode on Moya, one episode on Talon, back and forth. One
Oh, it
after
was
the
just like, sorry, but it was just referring to the effects on the. It was a
Yeah.
one-parter. It was just referring to the ending of the other episode. That's why.
Yeah, I think
that's why my brain kind of connected those two episodes, or at least those two events.
It's a good season, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because it does that to you.
It really is.
Rigel's the next to go up. He's got bandages around his middle.
Oh, it's bandages. I thought he was just like wearing one of those sashes that you get around a kimono.
Oh, okay. I was thinking cummerbund. I mean, it's a good
Oh,
look.
right. Yeah, it
It's
is.
very slimming.
It really works.
Hey, Sparky. They say it's not good.
Sparky, come here. My stuff. You can't have it.
Still since the first season. No, you still can't have it.
My stuff, yes. Which Rigel accepts in good grace.
Yeah,
He's still going to try and steal it, but
of course.
yeah.
But he says his goodbyes in such a Rigel way, it's going to be hard not to think of you. Like, he's going to
Yeah.
try his very best. I'm going to put you out of my mind, but it'll be difficult.
Yes.
Rigel,
It's like,
bless.
Then John seems to have a bit of an episode for which Stark gets called in to do his thing.
This is the first time that he's actually helped someone pass over
Well, there was...
since Jelena, at the end of season 1.
Oh, I was going to say there was what's her name in the Siren Star?
She was already dead.
She was already dead, but he did help her pass on.
That's fair. Yes, I'll accept it.
But yes, we get him to do his thing, and that is apparently all that they have to do. Although when Stark tries to pull his hand away, John holds him back. And,
just a little more. Just a little.
Yeah.
And he gives it. I thought that was such a beautiful moment. Because he doesn't have to ask for it, of course. Stark will ease him just a little bit more. So John can be at peace, and you see his face relax, like his whole body is relaxed. He's just lying there, staring ahead, in the process of dying.
Yes, he is like moments from death at this point, and he and Aaron get to say their own goodbyes.
He talks about how lucky he is, which is really a wonderful thing to leave Aaron with. And I am choking up here a little bit because it's been a while since I've seen this episode. Just the performances are magnificent. That it's a lucky or an unambitious man who gets to die when he's ready.
Yeah.
And like Scorpius is gone, his friends are safe. He knew how to get home.
Yes.
And Aaron was with him, and she would have gone with him.
And he doesn't get to have that, but
he says his regrets, and she wants him not to don't be sorry. I don't want you to go that way.
Yes.
Right? She's accepted that he's dying. Oh, good gravy. Maybe you take it over. You can get through this in a sort of detached fashion.
Well, actually, I'm getting a little bit moist around the eyes. I'm a little bit like Crace was when he was like at the end of things with his like swollen red eyes.
Yes.
The previous scene when Crace was standing there like squinting like he had like a case of pink eye or whatever it is.
Yeah, hay fever season, right?
Oh yeah.
No, this is just Ian Taylor. Ian Watson, I think that's the name of the director, was immensely proud of this scene. Like he talked about particularly the ending was the finest television that he's ever directed, and it's all down to Ben Browder and Claudia Black. And like even Ben Browder made the choice to die with his eyes open, which Ian Watson said, "Are you sure? Because I'm going to want to cut back to you and a few times."
Yeah. I noticed one little eyelid wobble after he was supposed to be dead at one point, but that's...
No, you didn't. Don't you take this away from any of us. Nobody check it out. He's wrong.
But no, the part that got to me the most was how Aaron pulls a blanket up and cuddles up with him.
Oh my God, yes.
That got me a little bit...
Me too. God, I was so... And it just ends there.
Yeah.
And it just leaves us like this, and it goes to credits.
No, I have to like... Wipe a tear from my eye.
Buddy, I'm genuinely like no joke at all. Like I'm genuinely, I'm delighted that I can share this with you.
Yeah,
because this is.
We haven't had a good dramatic Farscape episode ending like this. We had a lot of these, where they ended up on a down note. And they're like this is like about as strong as it gets in that regard.
Yeah. You're right.
Despite the fact that we have a spare John at home. I just keep telling myself.
It's the only way to get
It's a coping mechanism, okay? Don't judge me.
I don't judge you at all.
I'm just...
I mean, when I watched this the first time, I was on my own.
Oh.
Right? I think I was living at my dad's university, but he was never there. And that was great for a young student.
Yes.
But yeah, to just sit there sobbing. And I think I was downloading it at the time in front of a 14-inch CRT monitor.
Yeah, 640 by 480.
It's really, really... it's a 1024 by 768. It was SVGA. These were...
No, I'm talking about the download.
Yes. Yes, that was abysmal. 352 by 480.
Wow, even worse, yeah.
Yeah, video CD, man.
Oh, yeah.
This was back in the days. I'm also doing the coping mechanism, talking about some nerd shit.
Yeah.
Where, like... Video files were so much larger and so much lower quality than they are now when we have, higher resolution screens and better download speeds.
Yeah.
So, should we do some bullshit?
She gives me a woody.
She gives you the willies.
Oh. Damn. So where to start? Oh.
Okay. My woody is actually going to go. I'm gonna make this easier for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first because you always go first, and that makes it easy on me. My woody is going to go to the wormhole. I've always loved the way that effect looks. This sort of vortex, this swirl of water, and to see that like against a planet and against a sun and those interactions. It was a marvel of physics that I was just absolutely enraptured with. Willie is tougher. Actually, no. It's going to go to Furlow for breaking my heart.
Yeah, that was going to be mine as well.
She can take 2 Whoa. No, hold on. I didn't mean that. She deserves... Nope.
No, let's just go. But yes, it's like Furlow is like 2. I mean, there's being callous and entrepreneurial, and then there's being this kind of bullshit. When you know that it's like going to cause mass destruction, war, and whatnot, and your only thought is, how can I profit from this best? That's...
Yes. But then again, maybe it's on us, because this woman, like, she's been tortured by these chariots.
Which she was still willing to work with them.
Yeah, which shows that when we met her and we saw her as this fun, crotchety mechanic, she was already an emotionally scarred, hardened survivor. And that's still what she is. She'd probably killed before at that point.
Oh, yes.
Because you don't just do that your first time and...
No, you don't. Yeah, well, you don't tend to shoot someone in the back, I suppose. I mean, like...
Well,
yeah,
it is the safest way.
Yeah, it is. And you don't have to look them in the eye while you're doing it. So there's like that to be said about that as well.
God, there's so much.
Okay,
it's Woody worthy. You've got the dune buggy chase. You've got the incredible performances.
I was going to say Claudia Black's performance probably gets mine.
Yeah,
that's definitely. She's an amazing actress, and this really shows it off.
If we ever do get to meet her, I'll tell you said so, and that you were as weepy-eyed as I am.
It just took my armor a little bit longer to break down.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you trust me and your listeners with this, and that we could share this together, because this was heavy for a lot of us.
Yes, it was not exactly. I mean, there was a fun-filled. I mean, but the buggy chase was the fun-filled part of this episode.
It was great, right?
It was amazing.
Originally, that was going to be with like space fighters in the script. But Ian Watson, once again, just like the sort of confrontation between John and Harvey was supposed to be on a river, and he said, that's boring. Let's put it in a fun fair. Like, he wanted this to be grounded as well.
Yeah.
And like, instead of having a space chase, which was almost the title of this show, by the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's have that on the ground and let's get some fun. Let's just redneck around.
Yeah. The problem with having a space chase would be that it would have to be CGI'd, intercut with shots of inside cockpits. And it's a much less interactive experience it would have been than the way they have it now.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of impressive how those space chases in the past have been made to look exciting.
Right.
Even though, like, I've seen a photo of the shot of the cockpit. The cockpit has a canopy that's... They're basically sitting on a chair carved out of wood. It's a big wooden block.
Okay.
Where all the chair is set into. The front is completely open. Their legs are out in the open, and there's like a bit of a canopy hanging over
them, just enough.
And there's a fixed camera. Yeah. And then the rest is all lights and them choosing to shake, because the thing doesn't shake.
There's nobody standing there shaking the...
Okay. I guess not.
Okay, let's
see. But you need a Willy still.
Oh.
Yeah, you gave the dune buggy's got your Woody.
Didn't I say whatever?
Claudia Black got your Woody.
Yes, the Furlow. I mean, I was going to Willy Furlow as well.
Unconventional move. Just double Willies for Furlow.
Yes.
Yikes. Well, what a rush. But hey guys, that's the story so far, Farscape.
Join us next week for episode 316, Revenging Angel. With Carleton in a coma, we take a look inside his Looney Tune mind.
Oh, so maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just in a coma. Maybe that next time
other John.
Oh, okay.
Spare John.
Probably. I wasn't thinking.
No.
Yes, well... We're looking forward to you joining us again. Next week, of course, will be another fanfic. I don't know what we've chosen yet. That's going to be interesting to discover. If you want to help us with submitting and suggesting any fanfiction that you know about, somewhere up to about 5,000 words, we'd really love some more fan suggestions. Or you have a synopsis for an upcoming episode, we still need them, keep them coming. Or you want to contribute to keeping the lights on here at the Farscape Studios, where we're turning the lights down a little bit so that nobody can see the reds around our eyes. You can find all those links at sofarscape.com/links. And thank you for joining us on this magnificent adventure. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay. Farscape, so good.